Welcome, Draft Yoda here, your favorite draft nerd. Uh, Put together a little dream college tour so that you can see some of the best athletes coming into this league next year. Checking out the draft, looking ahead. Um, wanted to see as many athletes as possible. So if possible, if anybody out there has a couple $1 million and wants to be able to send a draft nerd on that, let a boy know. But first off, we got Auburn and Baylor. Auburn, Baylor is where DJ Lagway, DJ Lagway transferred. So he's a young quarterback. He's not going to be one of the ones coming out next season, but it'll be the year after. The kid I want to see from Auburn is Byron Brown, quarterback. Also, Kayan Lee from Auburn as a corner. There's also Singleton at the wide receiver, and I want to say there was somebody else. Amaris Williams at edge. All Auburn players should be very talented kids going into the draft cycle. Most of those I have as day 2 picks, but still, it's a good matchup. Get to see DJ a year ahead, so I get a little bit extra scouting on him. The next day, making the trip from Atlanta, Georgia to Nashville, Tennessee, one of the greatest cities in America. You got Louisville versus Ole Miss. Louisville has some dogs this year. Clev Lovin. You've got Isaac Brown, the running back. Isaac Brown, the running back, is going to be electric this season. And then on the other side, Ole Miss, man, they've got some monsters as well. You've got the returning Trinidad Chimbliss. You've got Caden Lee at wide receiver, Kwan Lacey, running back, Suntrain Perkins. I don't know if Suntrain's an edge or a linebacker. I haven't really made that distinction yet. Need to see him a few more times. And Princewell, Iman Ilayan, I think is how it's pronounced. But I'm from the South, so trying to figure out how to pronounce stuff is real fun sometimes. But Ole Miss has got a lot of guys on their team. Will Eccles, I think, is another one, defensive tackle. They've got a talent on both sides. It'd be a really good matchup. Really, really talented matchup. And really get to see Isaac Brown versus some talent on the defense would be really nice. Following week, you got Oregon at Oklahoma State. Oregon obviously has one of the big quarterbacks, Dante Moore. But they've also got Amori Washington at defensive tackle. They got, I can't pronounce this kid's name, the center. It's going to be a stud coming out. Jamari Johnson is a tight end worth knowing coming into the draft next season. You've got Evan Stewart still there. He should be coming out. There's just a lot of talent in Oregon. And Oregon facing a rebuilt Oklahoma State team. It's got Drew Mesker, who came from North Texas. You've got Wyatt Young, a wide receiver that you're going to learn his name pretty quickly this year up ahead. And Wendell Gregory, a linebacker. All three of those guys are going to be studs going into the season. Metzger and Young are going to be the guys draft-wise you're going to hear a lot about out of that team. Following that one up with a trip up to South Bend, Indiana, Notre Dame versus Michigan State. Notre Dame has honestly best corner in this draft, Leonard Moore, but they've also got a linebacker, uh, Vilamu Asa, um, and that's burying the lead. They've got a quarterback, C.J. Carr, who has the potential to be, if not the number one pick, because of the Manning effect, he can definitely be in that top 5 picks in the draft. So, a lot of talent there. And then Michigan State isn't a team that a lot of people will think of talent-wise in the past few years, but they had a transfer in, Nick Marsh. Guy is going to be a monster wide receiver in the league, and I just want to put eyes on him. He is something different. And Aiden Childs, the quarterback there, is going to look great now that he has that kind of monster out there. So really, those two in particular are guys I wanted to see coming into the season. That's why that game in particular got on there. Then obviously big game, Ohio State, Texas. You got Julian Saban. You've got you've got the best prospect I've ever evaluated, Jeremiah Smith. You got Earl Little Jr., who just transferred from Florida State. You got Brandon Iness. They're all draft eligible. You got Henry Jr. coming in. That's going to be playing wide receiver for them. It's going to be a very, very talented offense. And that defense isn't going to they lost some talent, but they're not going to take a huge step back. They brought in a lot as well. So that Ohio State team is going to be really good. And then obviously Texas. Everybody knows the name, Arch Manning. If you don't know the name Arch Manning, I don't know where you've been. But they've also got Trevor Gooseby, Colin Simmons. Trevor Gooseby is a tackle. Colin Simmons, an edge. Cam Coleman, transfer from Auburn to play wide receiver there. Hollywood Smothers, transfer from NC State, is a running back. Ryan Wingo is still there. There is a lot of talent. Hollywood Smothers actually transferring in caused a kid to transfer out. Quintradion Winsner. That's just how talented he is going in there. So, Texas and Ohio State, fairly self-explanatory. We already talked about Louisville, but their trip to NC State gives me another chance to see another quarterback I'm very curious about in C.J. Bailey. Kid is super athletic. I don't know if his throwing motion really translates as it stands, but super athletic, super gifted. If he can fix that throwing motion, he's going to be scary. There's also King Mack is a safety at NC State that's worth taking a look at as well. Want to be able to see both of them. Obviously, then October 10th, USC at Penn State. Never been to Penn State. Would love to get a game in there. But the transfers that followed the new coach up there, Rocco Betch at quarterback. You've still got A.J. Harris there. Marcus Neal at safety. The guy to watch with that offense this year is going to be Luke Reynolds. I hate helmet scouting. I hate, saying this player looks like that player. But there's a lot of talent that's come out of Penn State recently. Tyler Warren in particular. That Luke Reynolds really, really looks like it plays like. And then you have, obviously, USC with another amazing quarterback coming out in Mayava. I'm higher on Mayava than a lot of people. simply because he made a lot of guys look really, really good last year, look better than I anticipated them looking. And he really popped when I was doing the wide receiver film from last year. So Mayava is a quarterback that I'm in love with moving into the season, so that's why he's there. Ohio State, we've already talked about for the next week, but Indiana, they just lost a lot of talent that went into the league, obviously, but I think Josh Hoover transferring in at quarterback is going to be just the spark they needed. They've still got Carter Smith. They've still got Amari Farrell. Charlie Becker transferring in at wide receiver is going to be one that's going to be a game changer for them as well. That Hoover-Becker combination is really, really going to shine in this coming season. Following week, obviously LSU at Auburn. We've already talked about Auburn. My goal is to see teams play talented teams, but LSU, one of the best tight ends in this draft. Trey'Dez Green, LSU. Sam Levitt, I want to see how he does in the new system. There is a couple other guys that have transferred into LSU that I really want to see how they perform. There's a lot of inbound talent in LSU. That's why I didn't choose them earlier. I want to see them gel and I want to see them play together first. But LSU's going to have a lot of talent in this draft, just like they have in a lot of recent drafts. Again, Penn State is on the board, but there's time they're going to Washington. Demond Williams, his whole offseason was crazy. Whether he transfer, would he not transfer? He signed a deal and then tried to transfer anyways. So I want to see him play. And Washington's one of those teams it's hard to get to for a really good game because there's other really good games that week as well. But November 7th, Penn State at Washington is one of the better games that week. Then following that, November 13th, Illinois at UCLA. UCLA, Nico Iamaleava, obviously a quarterback. Love him or hate him for all the stuff he did to Tennessee. I'm a Tennessee fan. Love him or hate him. But kid's got talent. Kid has all the measurables you want. Got to see him put it on the field. He hasn't had a lot of talent with him at UCLA so far, but I think Rico Flores Jr. transferring in is going to help with that. Wayne Knight coming in at running back is going to help with that. What's also going to help with that is Teo Johnson at safety is going to be able to help out and keep the game from getting out of reach so that Nico can play more in his style. He's not a guy that's going to chase as much as he needs to be a guy with a lead right now. But on the other side, Xavier Scott's the guy I want to see from Illinois. Cornerback, potentially the number 2 quarterback in this draft class. Really, really popped watching some of the film this offseason of last year. He just seems to know when the ball is coming in his direction. And that's something you can't really teach. It is just it's one of those intangible skills. Following that, Missouri at Georgia. Georgia, obviously, a powerhouse. Ernest Green at tackle, Nate Frazier at running back, KJ Bolden at safety, Drew Bobo at center, Chris Cole linebacker. I'm not really sold on Gunnar Stockton at quarterback, but Gunnar Stockton at cornerback. You've got Ellis Robinson. I think he's the 4th Ellis Robinson at corner, who is a beast out there. There's just a lot of talent at Georgia, and being able to see probably one of my favorite running backs in this draft, Ahmad Hardy, against them is really going to show me a lot of where he's at personally. And then one of his offensive linemen, Caden Green, plays tackle for Missouri. I think he kicks into guard more in the pros, just based off of body styles and stuff like that. But he definitely has the ability against the Georgia team to show out and prove me wrong that he can play that tackle position. Then following week, we see Georgia again, but this time it's against South Carolina. South Carolina could be at a point in their season where they've got a new coach at this point, but I still want to see Dylan Stewart. I still want to see Lenore Sellers, both of whom I think have the potential to play themselves into first-round picks this year. Lenore is just a freaky athlete. Again, I don't really like saying this player looks like this player, this player looks like this player, but when you watch Lenore's play, he looks like Cam Newton that can run better. That's not great praise, unfortunately for him, because of other things that have happened. Cam's not super accurate, but Cam won. He made a Super Bowl. And if you put talent around him, there's definitely success that can happen there. Dylan Stewart is an edge. It's going to be a monster. Caleb Herring, who transferred from Tennessee, on the other side is going to be scary. The wide receiver that I think really helps Sellers unlock part of this offense is Nitro Tuggle. Really think he's going to help take the top off of the offense because Nick Harbor, unfortunately, he's a monster athlete and he is huge, but I think his hands are dipped in concrete sometimes because the ball will be placed perfectly and he just drops it. If he can prove me wrong and learn to catch, learn to have a little softer hands, that'd be great for him as well. But there's some pieces in South Carolina to be excited about. Just scared how that season breaks down because of that schedule they have, which we'll talk about more in depth later on a different post. Following the Georgia-South Carolina game, got TCU at Texas Tech. Texas Tech, took a hit a little bit with the loss of Brendan Sorsby, but there's still a lot of talent there. You got Sheridan Wilson at center. You've got Howard Sampson at tackle. Ben Roberts at linebacker. You have Terrence Carter Jr. at tight end. Bryce Pollock at cornerback. There's a lot of talent at Texas Tech. They spent a lot of money to have some talent there. But the sneaky guy you want to watch in this game, that I want to watch in this game, is the quarterback for TCU, Jaden Craig. If I'm the first one to talk about him that you've heard, congratulations. You're going to look like a really, really smart guy when the season comes to an end. If he decides to come out. He's a 3-year graduate of Harvard University who transferred to TCU. He had something like 74% accuracy in the Ivy League, which, there's not a lot of burners in the Ivy League, but there's also a lot of smart guys that know football that can jump routes, and he was accurate. If he can continue that in TCU and definitely against, not the top tier corners in the Big 12, but there's still some decent corners in the Big 12, especially at Texas Tech. Then that's what I want to see. That's why that game in particular is the game for TCU for me. Plus, Lubbock, Texas is just a great little city for college football. Following that up with a trip down to South Beach, Miami Gardens, Miami versus Boston College. Obviously, Miami, coming off of their late season run, has a lot of talent. You got Mark Fletcher, Justin Scott. the transfer quarterback from Duke, Darian Mensa, is another quarterback name that you're going to want to know going into the season. He didn't have a lot of talent at Duke at wide receiver, and he's about to have a boatload of talent at wide receiver. So he's gonna show out and show up. He's gonna make a lot of people who overlooked him in the transfer portal feel really dumb for overlooking him. And then you have Boston College, who there's not a lot of big name guys coming out of Boston College currently, but their quarterback Dylan Lonergan. Ooh, that's gonna be a fun one to make sure I pronounce right. Dylan Lonergan, quarterback from Boston College. I think he's the best quarterback that Boston College has had since Matt Ryan. I know that's not a huge statement because Boston College isn't super known for quarterbacks, but I think he's the best they've had since then, and I really would like to watch it live. I'd really like to see him live. But that's my dream college football tour if I had the ability. You know, if I had a couple $1 million sitting in the bank and could go wherever I wanted, that would be where I would go. But comment down below, let me know. Where would you go? What athletes did I miss? Was there a player in particular? I like, for instance, Alabama. I know I missed Alabama on the list. But Ryan Williams, in particular for Alabama, would be one that I would like to see. But who else? Who else have I missed? Where did I miss a guy? What team did I miss? Is there anybody that I haven't talked about yet from these teams that I need to be talking about? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. I am the NFL Draft Yoda, Bill Workman, and we will scout, we will analyze, and we will win the draft. Looking forward to spending this season with you. Have a great day.